Defining consciousness is the intellectual equivalent of trying to bite your own teeth, which is why philosophers have spent 3,000 years writing incredibly thick books just to conclude that we can only understand the mind by shutting up and sitting entirely still.
The entire history of human thought essentially boils down to brilliant people failing to explain what it feels like to be alive, culminating in the rather frustrating realization that reading about awareness is roughly as satisfying as reading a menu and expecting to feel full.
We are tackling this pasted manifesto, arguing that consciousness requires an ostensive definition, which is a magnificent philosophical term for pointing a finger at a cat and saying cat, because the biological explanation is far too tedious for a toddler.
Ludwig Wittgenstein adored the ostensive definition problem, pointing out that if you point at a cat, the child might think you mean the color black, the concept of fur, or perhaps just your rather aggressive finger-pointing technique.
Yet, when it comes to the brain, the text argues we are stuck pointing at a strawberry and trying to explain sweetness to someone who has only ever eaten gruel.
Frank Jackson codified this perfectly in 1982 with the Mary's Room thought experiment, where a brilliant neuroscientist learns every single physical fact about the color red from inside a black and white room, but learns something entirely new the second she steps outside and actually sees a red apple.
The knowledge argument strikes again, proving that downloading Wikipedia into your brain still will not help you understand the flavor of a strawberry or the sheer panic of realizing you left the cooker on.
David Chalmers then dropped the hard problem of consciousness into the academic arena in 1995, splitting the headache into two parts: the easy problem of how the brain processes information, and the impossible problem of why processing that information actually feels like anything at all.
Science can map the exact neural pathways firing when I stub my toe on the coffee table, but it cannot capture the subjective, vibrant poetry of the pain and the colorful language that immediately follows.
Our provided text suggests the solution to the hard problem is to simply give up the intellectual chase, find a quiet room, and absorb the space between your thoughts.
The great irony of modern culture is that we have taken this ancient, profound directive to notice the silence and commodified it into mobile applications that charge you £10 a month to listen to a minor celebrity whisper about breathing.
You are sitting there, attempting to perceive the vast sky-like nature of your own awareness, and suddenly your smartwatch vibrates to inform you that your meditation streak is in jeopardy.
The text compares thoughts to clouds drifting across a sky, positioning consciousness not as the weather, but the atmosphere itself.
Eastern philosophical traditions nailed that analogy millennia ago, treating the ego as a frantic tourist constantly reacting to the scenery, while true consciousness is just the windscreen.
And psychists have recently thrown a spanner in the works by suggesting the windscreen might be a fundamental property of the universe, arguing that perhaps even the coffee table has a minuscule, rudimentary form of consciousness, which makes stubbing my toe feel like a targeted attack.
Materialist neuroscientists fiercely reject that, arguing consciousness is merely an emergent illusion created by billions of neurons firing, meaning your profound spiritual revelation in the gap between thoughts is just your frontal cortex taking a brief power nap.
Whether it is a cosmic fundamental or an elaborate biological parlor trick, the subjective experience remains the only thing we can actually verify.
Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am," but the modern mindfulness update seems to be, "I notice I am thinking, therefore I am the thing doing the noticing."
Which leaves us in the delightful position of knowing that the greatest mystery in the universe cannot be solved in a laboratory, but rather by sitting awkwardly on a cushion until your legs go numb.
If someone you know is currently wrestling with the existential dread of their own subjective experience, send them this episode.
20 years in the making. Iris, a journey through the unknown, explores theories of everything. Simulation reality, higher dimensions, alien gods, consciousness, miracles, and soul purpose. Uncover the ultimate truth. Get your copy now.